And let's welcome in our good friend Bob Vanderplot's. Good to see you, brother. How are you?
Doing really well. Happy Thanksgiving. Congratulations on a Michigan win. I guess the list could go on and on and on with you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Oh, we had a very good Thanksgiving. We did. That was, after that game ended, Noah and I just looked at each other and just kind of burst out laughing. It wasn't the most important win that Michigan's ever had over Ohio State, but sure as hell was the funniest one, I'll tell you that.
And wasn't it your granddaughter that was dressed in a...
Yeah, that picture's a few months old. Yeah, she's growing like she's growing like a weed right now. Okay. But we got to babysit her Saturday too. So almost right as the game was over, Anna texted us and she's like, "Can you guys watch Autumn at the last minute? I've really got to get out and see Wicked, man. I was going to try to stay away, and now I can't."
We will. Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, you bet." Well, first of all, if we had lost, I would have been even more excited to watch her because I would have needed the mood changer.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
But on top of that, we had all kinds of fun. Her and I, she was over there for like 4 hours on Saturday.
So I can only imagine
we had a ton of fun.
that Autumn comes over and you give her a Michigan flag and say, "Autumn, this is how you plant it in Ohio State."
That's right. That's
field.
Exactly right. Yes, indeed.
Right in our living room. There we are.
All right, let's get to some serious stuff.
You bet.
All right. So as you watch, we were talking about this before you came on, and Aaron played a fantastic montage from Grabian. All these self-righteous, sanctimonious, gaslighting clips of all these media. Well, he said that he wasn't going to pardon his son, and I believe our own senator claiming he believed him, which I told the audience, the Chuck Wagon has not spoken to me in about 15 years. I know you guys talk all the time, so I can't tell if that's a troll from him or not. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I also don't know anybody that's 100, so I can't tell. Okay, but all these people coming forth like we're just shocked and dismayed. Apparently their IQs are, below 12 and should not be licensed for motor vehicles. Okay. But as you're watching Joe Biden do this, and you are seeing some Democrats saying he's lighting our party on fire by doing this on the way out the door, basically giving Trump all the political cover to do whatever, whether it's Kash Patel.
Sure.
Whatever Trump wants to do now, he's got total cover to do it. Right?
All the attacks you had on Trump about winning the election, about this is what he would do. He's going to politicize this. He's going to politicize the justice system. He's going after his enemies.
And of course, I fought him in the primary because I didn't think he'd actually do that stuff. I'm like, you guys keep accusing him of doing the stuff we wanted him to do, and he didn't do it the last time. Well, now it looks like he's going to actually do it this time.
And now Biden on his way out says, "Hey, this is how you do it."
Yep.
You tell everybody you're not going to do it, and this is how you do it. So I can see why they're upset. Steve, I think I saw Chuck Grassley's tweet as well about it. I believed him. But if you go back, Grassley and Biden served in the U.S. Senate for decades together. And remember when Biden ran the first time?
Yeah, it was before, I think right around the time I was born.
Yeah. Well, that's for U.S. Senate. I'm talking about for president.
Oh, yeah, 1988.
Yeah.
Was the first time.
Right. And then when he ran...
I wasn't eligible for a driver's license yet, Bob. I'm a grandpa, and I couldn't get a driver's license the first time Joe Biden ran for president. Okay?
But when he ran in 2020... Everybody's talking about this is the Joe. This is the guy. This is the guy you want to have a beer with. This is the guy. He's not left or
Uncle
right.
Joe.
He's kind of in the middle. He'll take the train from Delaware into Washington, D.C. He's that guy. And then when he got to be president, we found out, he's not that guy at all. Matter of fact, who's running this thing? And so, Steve, when I take a look at this, there's a lot of times where I'll counsel people all the time about, hey, leaders need to finish well. Because a lot of times leaders hang on way too long. Athletes hang on way too long. You want to see them, they leave at the top of their game. Michael Jordan, after 6 championships, I'm out here, I'm retired, I flirt coming back, but then you're right, I should have been retired, I leave. Biden here, though, what a horrible ending. You take a look at his presidency, and everybody's asking, who's running the country? Is it Barack Obama? Is it Michelle Obama? Is it George Soros? Who's running the country? But we know it's not him, right? Then he says, I'm going to run for president. Even though a lot of my party insiders, everybody says you shouldn't run. We need to find somebody who can beat Trump, all that kind of thing. I'm running for president. The first debate, just a complete, that thing's going to go down as a historically, the worst debate probably of all time performance. When he even walked on the stage as a bad debate performance. But now as you exit, after the sham of Kamala, after getting beat by Trump, the American people have spoken. You saying you would never politicize the justice system. You saying you would never offer a pardon to your son, Hunter, because that'd be politicizing it. You believe in an independent judiciary? Is that what we heard? I was walking out saying, just kidding. What an awful way to, the legacy he has left. You think about it, since being president, the legacy he's going to leave from common person, common American Joe, to have a beer with him, ride a train with him. He's not this or that, but he's just a good guy. I'm telling you what, this is an awful way to end. So I look at it from a leadership perspective. What a terrible way to end.
Contrast that for a second with what we have seen thus far with Trump. And I will, maybe you and I will use different wording than when you and I are talking about this privately. Okay. But when you and I have discussed what we have seen from him since election night and his transition as two guys who went all in against him in the primary here in Iowa, and because we were concerned that he wasn't going to finish well. He didn't finish his first term well. Mm-hmm. It was a 3-year term with mostly successes, and then that final year was one of the worst years any president has ever had. Mm-hmm. At least maybe in modern times, until maybe this last year with Joe Biden that you were just describing. And we were concerned that he wasn't going to learn from his mistakes. Didn't show a lot of humility, frankly, running in the primary. But over the last few months, you have seen a much more open, cordial Donald Trump, a much more engaging Donald Trump, a much more accessible Donald Trump, a way more disciplined Donald Trump. You've seen a Donald Trump go out of his way to articulate bold and specific policy initiatives and visions beyond anything he ever talked about in his first term or his first campaign. You can see now that with most of the cabinet, if I had to do a top 3 power rating of cabinet appointments right now, beyond RFK Jr. to me is going to be the clear number one. I don't know that I could narrow it down after that.
Right.
There's been now there's a couple that you're like, what was that? Like the DEA one. Mm-hmm. But most of these have been, like Dream Team. Like if we got together and did like a fantasy draft, this is some of the at least maybe not the name, but the profile of the kind of person we'd want him to appoint. Where on the other hand, now it does seem that Trump is now concerned about legacy. It does seem now that even look at his VP pick.
Oh, you bet.
He picked an heir apparent, okay? Someone that was a legitimate crown prince figure that could take on the mantle of MAGA after he is gone and take it and run with it in his own time. It does seem, in his case, he is operating with way more notion of legacy at stake than what you just described from Joe Biden.
Steve, I want to go back, first of all, about why you and I went in, basically to have DeSantis win and not have Trump get the nomination. My main reason was I didn't believe the American people would elect him again. I thought, we cannot have 4 more years of Biden and Kamala Harris. My main concern was the American people would not elect him. And then our other concern, if you'll recall, is that if he did get elected, we were afraid here comes in New York cronies or whoever else, and it's going to be way different than, say, the first term of some of these others. And what you're seeing is that, my goodness, it could be the shot that happened in Pennsylvania, that grazed him to say, I don't know what it is, but you're right, Steve. He is now interested in leaving a legacy. It's bold and courageous leadership. I believe you're hearing him use more spiritual talk about turning this country back to God. And to me, people are now excited about this type of leadership. His approval rating today is way north of what it's ever been.
He's above water for the first time.
But what is, he's an optimistic leader. And instead of going as, listen, I'm bringing in the tired old establishment to help me lead this thing. And the media saying, well, he's just bringing in loyalists. Yeah, they're not going to undermine his agenda. We elected him president. Let him bring in who he wants, but then let them lead. And what they're seeing from Biden and Kamala, they want something. You're seeing America hopeful and optimistic in a time that I have not seen them hopeful and optimistic for a long time. And it's because of what he is presenting as leadership. And you're right. He's way more accessible. He's way more, people like him. He's self-deprecating. Even with the garbage truck and the vest, he's self-deprecating. That's what they love about it. And so I think what Biden's doing, he's going to give a clear contrast, allow Trump come in and hopefully run the table in the first 100 days.
Tell us about, because you mentioned this coming in here this morning, and I'd not even heard this story. So tell us about what just happened in Emo, appropriately named, given the story you're about to tell us, Emo, Canada. What happened?
Emo, Canada. Some of your listeners, I'm sure, will have happened on this. But a small little community, Emo, Canada, just north of the Minnesota border. 1,300 residents. 1,300 residents. I mean, this is a Bob Newhart show, right? Mm-hmm. And the Human Rights Tribunal, that should give everybody a cause for pause, right? The Human Rights Tribunal of Canada fined this little community $10,000 and basically sanctioned it because they didn't put an LGBTQ2, which I have no idea what the 2 is now, flag up in Canada, and they did not recognize June as Pride Month. And right away it came back to me, Steve, about this comment about you will be made to care. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's not even being made to care anymore. You will be made to publicly affirm and support. And so to me, here it is, you got Canada.
Something will always rule. Something must always be worshipped. There is no secular realm, and there never has been.
Exactly. So you take the contrast on now. You got Prime Minister Trudeau with his Human Rights Tribunal sanctioning this little town of Emo because why? I didn't put the flag and I didn't say June is Pride Month. Where you have Trump coming in. And the contrast of going, you know what? This country will be about 2 genders, and it's what you were assigned at birth. We're no longer mutilating kids. And by the way, this DEI nonsense, guys, I'm telling you what, maybe you're not seeing it, but read the Wall Street Journal, whatever. Companies are running from DEI right now. They're dropping it like crazy. Mm-hmm. They're bringing up a new thing called MEI, which is merit, excellence, and intelligence. I mean, things that you're like, this is what you should,
America.
Yeah, this is what you should be measuring people on.
Yeah.
So to me, when I take like Canada and Prime Minister Trudeau going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring to say, you know what, don't let me have those tariffs that you're saying on me. But you got this little community being sanctioned because of this garbage. And now you have fresh leadership coming in and saying, no, we're going to right the ship. We're going to put it on solid foundation.
In 2 months, we're going to have the first major cultural event of every year in America. That's the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And it's also one of the largest commercial expenditures that will occur in America every year as well, right?
Yep.
I will be, because all those commercials and everything are all being plotted out, and they're all being strategized in boardrooms with, PR and ad people right now as we speak. What's going to be featured? And I will be fascinated to see.
The woke is not selling, guys.
I will be see if
they'll
people
run from it.
How many corporations go out there that first Sunday in February and spend, what is it typically, 30, 40, 50 million for like a 60-second spot? All right. How many will go out there and just waste their money talking to an audience that largely does not exist, or how many of them are going to truly see? That's all. Those are the kinds of things people can say a lot. But ultimately, where your heart is, your treasure will be also, right?
Exactly.
All right. And so when they invest in it's the biggest non-traditional religious holiday event that America has is the Super Bowl. And so that'll be our first indicator how many of these people truly got the message from this last election, I think.
Yeah, well, I think they really got it. And quite frankly, I think a lot of corporate America wants to get it as well. Like, you know what, we're done with this nonsense. This is about a value add, and is it profitable?
But they're gutless and didn't want to look like, they didn't want to be called bigots and get glitter bombed and bombed on social media.
But now you have Trump being president. You got Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy being in charge of Doge. I think they know where this train is running and what America said. So you can say what all these fringe groups want to say to you about America still is foundationally solid.
We got about a minute left. You wanted to say something about Thanksgiving?
Well, just about Thanksgiving. I think it's right. We put a lot of attention on the Pilgrims and about what that meant for religious liberty, what it meant for free enterprise. And so there's a lot of reasons why we put that there. But I also think we need to go back to George Washington, who really saw the divine intervention that gave him providence. Matter of fact, he used words like, I'm only a vessel in the hands of providence, meaning that there's something bigger here that America is about. But I think it also goes to Abe Lincoln, who really resurrected Thanksgiving Day, of saying both sides have forgotten who the Lord is. We're awash in blessings and we're killing each other. Mm-hmm. And so there's a part of me, Steve, where it says in Scripture, never forget who the Lord is. So who is the Lord? And so I hope that with this country and the turn that we're seeing with a Trump election, and not that our hope is in a Trump election, but hopefully it's a ripple effect of our hope. And that is, who is the Lord? And let's turn our hearts back to him and remember, give him thanks for all the blessings that are bestowed upon this country.
Amen. Good stuff.
Good stuff.